Coming up on your Ignite News, have you ever wanted to learn how to develop a smartphone app?
Apps really do know no boundaries. So there needs to be an app, and there probably will be an app one day for just about everything.
We get a front row seat to Mohawk's accessibility project, and you can expect transportation changes coming to the Hamilton area.
We're moving forward now. We're not waiting. You know, we're testing the waters. We're getting in some great projects. We're understanding how all modes relate to each other already.
That and more coming up on Ignite News.
Good morning and welcome to your Ignite News for Tuesday, April 2nd. I'm David Tabron.
And I'm Chelsea Kaufman. Here's what's making news. Police are investigating a homicide that occurred Saturday evening on King Street West. 33-year-old Kadar Omar died of blood loss due to the stab wound, according to an autopsy completed on Sunday. Police are still investigating and asking anyone with information to contact Detective Daryl Reed of Homicide or Crime Stoppers.
A Hamilton man has started a nonprofit program for autistic children who are no longer eligible for government-funded therapy. Paul Soretti, a 48-year-old single father of twin daughters with autism, is the co-founder of the Autistic Assistance Program. The program seeks to provide both behavior therapy and education for autistic children who no longer meet the necessary criteria by the assessments officer. The program's therapists are volunteer psychology students from McMaster University. Also, Mohawk is raising awareness about accessibility. Ignite News reporter Lauren Smith took the Wheelchair Challenge and shows us how using a wheelchair changed her outlook on those who use one every day.
At Mohawk's Accessibility Day, I hopped into a wheelchair to take it for a spin. The ramp was the most challenging part of the experience. Right off the bat, I had to get up the ramp while I still wasn't quite acquainted with the chair yet. It took a lot more arm strength and coordination than I'd expected. If I let go, I'd slide right back down and have to start over again. I really began to appreciate what some people have to go through every day. After the ramp, I took my tired arms up to the learning center to pick up my next challenge. I ran into Anthony Frazina, who works with accessibility services at the school. He and I have talked about the school's accessibility before, and he says that while it's not perfect, the school has come a long way in the last 10 years. At this point, I got stuck. One of my wheels had turned inward and I couldn't get it free. Without being able to reach the wheel or use my feet to fix it myself, I had to rely on someone else to come help me get realigned. Once my wheel was back in line, I was able to complete my final challenge and then head down to the student services desk to end my trip. Lots of students took the wheelchair challenge that day, and hopefully they all started to realize what I did, that wheeling around in a chair is much harder than it looks. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Lauren Smith.
Hamilton's plans to improve public transit ridership and reduce reliance on cars has failed. The plan that was adopted in 2007 aimed to direct the city towards methods of active transportation. Don Hull, Hamilton's Director of Transit, blames the failed plan on a lack of funding. City staff plans to ask Council for an operating budget investment in order to improve the plan over the next 5 years. There are a few more changes happening in and around the Hamilton area involving a new transit program. Ignite News reporter Dave Tabron has more on this story.
Point A to point B, many Hamiltonians rely upon public transit to get to work or school, as well as making outer city trips to places like Toronto. The Hamilton Center for Civic Inclusion hosted a roundtable meeting to discuss the future of transportation in the city. The discussion was one of 12 taking place across the region. People gathered together to discuss their biggest concerns with getting around in the city. Matthew Burton, a community relations specialist with Metrolinx, says that changes in transportation for the Greater Toronto-Hamilton area lie in an investment known as the Big Move.
The Big Move is a 25-year, $50 billion plan to transform transit across the region. It really benefits not only commuters in being able to get from point A to point B faster, but it's really about giving choice and alternatives to our present system. So you can have the option of taking public transit rather than taking your car and alleviate some of that frustration that we all feel with congestion and commuting.
Many people who took part in the discussion feel that Hamilton is already showing positive changes with respect to its public transportation system.
I'm impressed as staff that we're moving forward now. We're not waiting. You know, we're testing the waters. We're getting in some great projects. We're understanding how all modes relate to each other already. And so that in the next 10 years, you know, as we're building Pan Am Stadium, hosting Pan Am Games, and then building a rapid transit network, we're going to be ready for that. And we're going to be moving forward every year as we get to the build out of the system.
Making changes to our transportation needs will not only help meet the province's Go Green action plan to combat climate change, but it'll also open up over 900,000 new jobs. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm David Tavron. Mohawk will be debuting some new continuing education programs about smartphone applications this summer. We're joined by Ignite News reporter Marcy Colbert in the newsroom to tell us more. Now, Marcy, what is this I hear about there being not one, but 3 programs about smartphone apps?
Well, David, as of this summer, there is going to be a program about how to develop smartphone apps for each of the 3 popular smartphone brands.
I can draw with a pen, I can like...
Mohawk College will be launching 3 new programs about developing smartphone applications. There will be a part-time course specializing in each popular smartphone brand: iPhone, BlackBerry, and Android. Mohawk will be buying the online courses from Conestoga College through Ontario Learn. The course will also be taught by an instructor at Conestoga College. Ontario Learn coordinator Shelley Kitchen says students who take the courses will be getting a lot of experience for the working world.
They'll be doing designing, developing, testing, using the technology necessary. The BlackBerry one will be dealing with the tablet and the phones. The iPhone will be, or the iPad one will be looking at the iPad and the iPhone and so on. So whatever technology, plus the designing, development, and the application of it.
Media professor Peter Morin says he thinks the new courses are a great idea for Mohawk students due to the rising popularity of smartphone applications.
I think it's a wonderful idea for Mohawk College because apps really do know no boundaries. So there needs to be an app, and there probably will be an app one day for just about everything.
The courses will make their debut this summer from May 10th to August 16th. For Ignite News, I'm Marcy Colbert.
Mohawk's Sustainapalooza event has made quite a name for itself after being introduced just last year. Ignite News reporter Dimitri Pertikaris has the details.
The second annual Sustainapalooza was a success for Mohawk College's Sustainability Office. The event was held in the Arnie, hosting 24 vendors as well as public speakers. The purpose of Sustainapalooza is to teach students the importance of living a healthy lifestyle as well as being sustainable for the environment we live in. Amber Colbert represents the Green Smoothie Bar. After being diagnosed with Crohn's disease, Colbert says her condition was so bad she only had about a year to live. She explains the changes she made in her treatment.
I kind of took everything in my own hand at that point, and it went natural. I removed all processed chemically fried foods from my diet. I reintroduced organic fruits and vegetables, and I got into Reiki, which is energy healing. It's self-healing, meditative kind of process, and in 3 months I completely reversed my condition.
Alan Griffiths is Mohawk's Sustainable Environment Specialist who also runs and operates the Sustainability Office. Griffiths says he is pleased with how far the event has come in only its second year.
If you look at Sustainapalooza, last year was our first year for the event, and we had a small table set up in the hallway to 24 vendors, the full Arnie, 30+ student volunteers. It's only going to get bigger, and we're going to do everything we can to make it bigger. I guess the one thing I will say is, yeah, we're doing everything we can to make it bigger, but we're getting more and more students interested and involved and engaged in the process. So as long as that keeps up, the sky's the limit.
Several members of faculty and students packed the Arnie for the event. Aria is an Aboriginal Services representative who also attended. She stresses why it's important to support a sustainable environment.
Because this is the only Earth we have, you know, it has to last for generations to come.
Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Dimitri Pertikaris.
With the sustainability message spreading throughout Mohawk, we ask you what you are doing to help out with the environment.
Because I relatively live close to the school, I tend to walk than drive. Not only does it help the environment, but it also helps my financial situation as well.
First of all, I recycle my waste and I take the bus just to save gas, cut down on gas.
I recycle, I compost. I always pick up any spare litter that's on the ground whenever I can, as long as it's not too dirty or anything.
In the winter, obviously it's extra sweaters and socks and slippers. I do what I can.
Let's take a look at what's coming up in weather, entertainment, and sports.
Coming up on Ignite News, the month of April is underway and spring continues to be off to a slow start, with flurries slated throughout the week. How long can it continue? We'll let you know.
Gritlit is back in Hamilton. This and more coming up on entertainment.
Coming up in sports, the Canadians host the Hurricanes and the Canucks visit the Sharks.
Here's a look back at today's top stories. A nonprofit program for autistic children has launched in Hamilton. The Hamilton Public Transit has failed transit users, and Mohawk introduces smartphone applications courses.
Well, it looks like Hamilton can't shake this cold weather. Let's check in with Eric for your weather update.
Thanks, Dave. Today in Hamilton, we'll have a few flurries with a temperature of -1. Toronto and Niagara Falls will also see some flurries, each with a high of 1. London will also have a high of 1, along with variable cloudiness. In Windsor, there will be some cloudy periods and an eventual high of 4 degrees. Over the next 24 hours, this evening will bring variable cloudiness, but luckily not much else. Temperatures will drop to -2. Overnight, we will have continued cloudy conditions as temperatures sink to -4. Tomorrow morning will bring sunny skies before further flurries. The temperature will drop to -5 before a late morning improvement. Now, over the next 5 days. On Wednesday, we'll have a mix of sun and cloud with a chance of flurries. We'll see a high of 3 and a low of -5. Thursday will be visited by the sun, the whole sun, and nothing but the sun. There will be a high of 7 and a low of -6. Friday will bring a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 4 and a low of -1. Saturday will have a high of 3 and a low of -6. Finally, Sunday will see a return of clouds and a 70% chance of showers. That's all from me with your weather. Now let's check in with Casey for your entertainment update.
Gritlit is here again. The literary festival officially starts tomorrow and ends on the 7th. It will feature Battle of the Books happening tomorrow and books such as Triggers, The Winter Palace, and The Little Shadows. Entries are now being accepted for the writing competition. Now let's take a look at what's happening in and around campus.
Mohawk students can gear up for summer vacation next week with the Farewell Year-End Festival at the Brantford campus. Students can indulge in carnival games, prizes, balloon artists, and free food. Entrance is free for all ages. The Harlem Globetrotters come to Copps Coliseum on April 10th at 7 p.m. This is just one stop on their You Write the Rules World Tour, where fans get to vote on what zany new rule will be added for each quarter of play. Could it be a 4-point shot? A 6-on-5 matchup? The choice is ours. And Oprah Winfrey will be coming to Copps on April 13th, also at 7 o'clock. She will offer her personal insights and stories to show attendees how to realize their full potential, followed by a half-hour Q&A session. Tickets start at $80.
HBO President Michael Lombardo says that people pirating the popular Game of Thrones series on the internet is flattering. He also said the piracy has not hurt DVD sales and in fact creates more interest in the show. And that's a wrap for entertainment. Let's head over to Brady for your sports update.
Thanks, Casey. In NHL action, the Montreal Canadiens defeated the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1 in a game that saw the end of forward Max Pacioretty's scoring slump. Pacioretty, who had only 1 goal in his past 12 games, netted 2 goals and now has 11 on the season. Newly reacquired center Jeff Halpern scored the game winner, and the Habs now have a 3-point lead on the Boston Bruins for the Northeast Division. The Vancouver Canucks fell short to the Sharks 3-2 in San Jose. The Canucks failed to capitalize on a chance to pass the Minnesota Wild for the Northwest Division lead after the Wild lost earlier in the night to the Blues. Andrew Desjardins, Joe Thornton, and Logan Couture scored the 3 Sharks goals, while Chris Higgins and Alex Burrows scored for the Canucks. That's all for sports. Let's pass it back to Chelsea and David.
Vermont State Police are on the hunt for Bigfoot, but it's not what you think. A Sasquatch sculpture was stolen over the weekend from a driveway in Westford, Vermont. The sculpture is a bust of the infamous urban legend creature, weighing in at 8 pounds and only 15 inches tall. According to police, the homeowners have recently moved to the area and are fond of their Sasquatch and just want it back.
Well, Chelsea, I suppose those homeowners must have really lost their head over that theft.
It sure is a bust of a story.
A bust indeed.
And that's all for your news on Tuesday, April 2nd. I'm Chelsea Kaufman.
And I'm David Tabron. For more news coverage, check out our website at ignitenews.ca. Thanks for watching, Mohawk.